Okay, my friends, we are back at 'em. We're here with the 2 Minutes to God podcast, and we've been successful in maintaining our name for a little while. So, without further ado, let us get to the questions. Let me pull it up here. This is apparently episode 5. Okay. Recently, I've felt trapped in a keeping up with the Joneses mentality. Everything seems to make me feel jealous. My coworker got a promotion I wasn't even going for, and rather than be happy for him, I felt envious that he got some well-deserved recognition from the higher ups. My sister recently announced she's pregnant again, and even though I do not want another child, I felt secret envy that she's now the family's center of attention. I know these are poisonous thoughts, but I don't know how to break out of them. Can you give me some advice for not feeling so envious? Ooh, okay. Yeah, it's I mean you could tell I'm reading that for the first time. My reading skills. Oh my gosh. Okay, so yeah, no, it's a great question. It's a really tough one. I hear in the question some inclination toward what I'd consider idolatry. Now I know that makes it worse rather than better. It makes it feel a bit worse rather than better. But I think it helps us to diagnose the problem here. The challenge is that our lives are all centered on something, and the question that we have to face, I think, is what do we want our lives to be centered on? We here in this question, I think there's a sense of my life is focused on myself, and I'm in this thing in order to get what I can out of it. So I want to get what I can out of life. I know this isn't necessarily where you're coming from, but there is this sense, because what we're seeing here is money. We're seeing the allure of wealth, of popularity or prestige or attention and the like. And I think rather than focus on what it is we have to receive, if we focus on what we have to give, then we'll get out of that me first mentality with all its baggage and bondage to the ego. Then we'll find ourselves living much more joyful lives. So yeah, not feeling so envious. I think the idea is that we want to push back in the opposite direction. So whenever we feel the tendency toward any of these things, we want to push back with some real and practical effort. So keep celebrating your sister. Keep celebrating your coworker. Keep in yourself desire the good of the people around you. And I think in that action, you will be somewhat freed from these, again, somewhat disordered inclinations. Okay, my friend, 2 minutes again on these questions it's never going to be enough, but that's my first stab at it. Now I have to think the rest of the day whether or not I would answer it differently. Okay, so let's get to number 2. I love being Catholic, but I often feel lonely within my own parish. Folks are always very friendly at Mass, and to be fair, before the pandemic hit, there were a few potluck dinners in our parish hall, but for the most part, I experience a lack of fellowship, and it hurts. Where can I find friendship within the church? It's a challenge. It's a challenge. Can we believe, for instance, that the Lord will provide for us, or the Lord is providing for us where we are? I think there's a couple of stabs that I want to take at this. One is to say, be well potted where you are. So give yourself. one of the challenges that we find is that because we are worshiping people, because we are praying, we're praising the Lord, because the God of generous self-giving is at the very heart and center of our lives, then we have to give ourselves away. So what I'd say is, where you are today, give yourself, and give what the Lord gives to you. So the consolation that He gives you, the strength, the power of His love, and the rest, give away, or live out of and give away. The second is that we can sometimes find ourselves alone where we are. And then I would say we have to take on a bit of a long-term discernment as to whether or not God wants us to uproot and be potted or planted somewhere else, not only for our good, but for the good of His project. I was inspired actually by reading a story of a group of Christians, I believe non-denominational, in California, who discerned as a community that they needed to plant a church in Hawaii. So something like 15 families left and went there. Now, that requires a lot of coming together in the community, a lot of praying together, a lot of discernment and the rest. But it's just to say, I don't know. It's God wants to have His way. So I'm saying it in two ways now. One is, wherever we are today, we have to let God have His way. We have to live lives of generous self-gift. Then we have to discern in the long run as well where God wants us to be in order to, again, continue to give ourselves in service of His kingdom. I think that's it. I think the time is up. I'm going to have to introduce a stopwatch on this just so I know that I'm hitting it in 2 minutes. But wow, I feel so inadequate. Great questions, and hopefully some decent thoughts there to consider. Okay, my friends, that's about all we have time for today. Thank you for joining us at the 2 Minutes to God podcast, and I look forward to seeing you very soon.